Hi everyone, my name is Bright Etonam, and I'm sorry I couldn't be at the event today, and there were a number of issues with my travel, so I had to join you guys virtually. And so about myself, I am Bright Etonam Suno. I'm a Google developer expert for Flutter and that, and I'm a software engineer. I have been using Flutter for about 7 years now. I started using Flutter when it was in alpha, and that's I think some point 2018. Yeah. And I've been doing Flutter ever since. So I do mobile and backend. Right. So yeah. Mm. Okay. So today I'll be talking about a very interesting topic, which is leveraging AI for inclusion, giving voice to the unseen with ElevenLabs and Gemini. Now, I'm sure we've all, at this point, we've tried something on AI. Either you've used AI to generate a text or you've done, let's say, an integration with AI. And some of these AIs like Gemini, uh, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and so on and so forth. They're actually a lot. So at this point, I think most of us we've played around with an AI API here and there. So this talk is more or less just leveraging on AI to bridge the gap between virtually impaired individuals. We'll see how we can use AI voice technology from ElevenLabs combined with Gemini to create a very simple application. Now, this application doesn't consider every scenario or every edge case, right? It's just this something very simple showing how to use these two individual technologies as one, right? Okay. Now, the challenge, the challenge. So, barrier to access information. If you know any person that is uh, virtually impaired, one issue they usually face is how to access information. And one thing you know is, I mean, almost every phone has what we call accessibility, but again, most of this accessibility tool isn't so much great. So sometimes they still struggle to use their device, right? And again, sometimes they pick applications that don't have accessibility integrated into them, so they find it difficult to use those applications. Imagine a banking app. I mean, most banking apps don't have accessibility integrated, which means that someone who is virtually impaired cannot even use a banking app. They'll have to rely on someone close to them to help them perform financial transactions. Now, yeah, so there are, I think, 2 billion blind people across the globe, and uh, with this number, you think there is a solution for this large group, but unfortunately, it's this technology is not so well, and I think most people are focused on developing things for people that basically can see. So this group is more or less lagging behind, right? Now, I mean, what's the solution? Since we're in the era of AI, I can say we can easily use AI for this, right? And since I mean, we we are leveraging Gemini, we can basically use Gemini to generate text, and also we use other tools, or yeah, basically we can use other tools to generate audio form of those texts for people who can't see, so that at least they can hear, right? And Basically, just trying to combine these technologies together to get an application running. And in the area of AI, mean, there has been a lot of revolution in accessibility. Text-to-speech technology is no more like that robotic tone. Now there is more like natural sounding voices. Um, I mean, this can also this can still be improved, but again, now it is more engaging interacting with some of these technologies. I mean, if you have an iPhone, if you look at Siri now, Siri it doesn't sound so robotic nowadays. And also, I think you have the ability to also use your own voice for Siri, right? So, yeah. Now, 11 Labs. I'm probably sure most of us, probably this is the first time of us hearing of 11 Labs, right? So, 11 Labs is basically uh, a company that deal with AI voice or voice with AI. So ElevenLabs, they deal with AI voice generation. So they're able to generate voice. So you give them a text, then they give you an audio, which is very human-like, but it was generated by an AI. So we will be using that uh, for what we are about to do. Now, what about Gemini? I mean, I'm sure, but at this point, we've had a brush on Gemini. So Gemini is a large language model, and it can access a vast number of information. I mean, at this point, we use Gemini for generating text or creating content, right? So basically, we are combining Gemini and 11 Labs, where Gemini generates the response, and then 11 Labs basically convert this response to audio. Now, why Gemini? So, as I said, Gemini is a large language model. It has access to a vast number of knowledge base, and we can also access a lot of information. I mean, it's able to generate very creative ideas for us, and also, I mean, it's able to give us very detailed answers to our prompts. Now let's get into the code. This session is very technical. So what I did was I created the application already. So I'll just take my time and take you through the process, some of the functions, so that after you get the code, you can try it out yourself and make your own improvements. Let's go. All right. So um, yeah, let me head over to the code. Good. So on GitHub, the project is in I think about four branch. So we have I think three. So we have the main, then we have the project setup, then we have the integration. So yeah. So this is the integration branch that we are actually looking at, and I'll quickly try and explain it. Let me make this thing bigger. All right. So first of all, I have a number of packages that I am using, right? So the first one is the HTTP library because I'll be making HTTP requests to App Labs, sorry, to 11 Labs API, and also I need the audio player, the just audio to basically play the response that I get from 11 Labs. Then I also need Gemini again, and also a speech to text package, right? So yeah, heading over to the code, we in our main we have a very simple setup. It's just uh sorry, let me get this running. Sorry, let me make this a little smaller. All right. Okay, so whilst this runs, so in our main, we have just a very simple setup. So it's just basically a flat application with a button. When you click on it, then we perform a number of process. So one important file we have to look at is called the ElevenLabs. So ElevenLabs is, I mean, it's a class. What I'm doing here, I mean, I've left a number of comments. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the API keys from the environment so that we don't expose our API keys to others, right? So this, and I'm doing the same thing for Gemini. So I'm also getting the Gemini API key. Now, the next thing is basically initializing the Gemini model. So I'm using the Gemini model 1.5 Flash status. So you can always try this out. This is a multimodal model, which means that you can send text and image at the same time. Now, we have a number of methods or functions in here. So one of them is the generate text. Now, what this does is it takes a text and then it will give it to the Gemini model to generate a response. So depending on whatever text that we pass in, the Gemini generates a response and then send it back to us. Now, the next one is um, speech. So over here, we get a text and we give it to this function, and this function returns as an audio. So an audio file, and this in byte anyway, so we can easily get this byte and play it out, right? So again, there are a number of sorry, so there are a number of voices you can use in ElevenLabs. Let me quickly pull up their website. Okay, so this is their website. There are a number of voices you can use. So these are some of the voices that are available that you can use, and then uh, basically use this voice to generate the audio that you want. So yeah, so basically, I am using this for I think it's called Rachel. So this is the ID. So I mean, they have an API where you need to pass in the voice that you are use or you want to use, and then the rest is just making a post request to this endpoint with the text that you've been or you are sending, right? So after getting this text and sending it, you get a response, and then we just return the response to whatever function that needs it. So that's what this class is doing, right? Now going back into our main file again. This is the process. The process is we we talk, right? So we say something which is audio, then we convert that audio to text, then we pass in the text to Gemini, then Gemini takes this text and give us a response based on the text. Then we now take the text and we give it back to we send it to ElevenLabs. Then ElevenLabs also take the text to generate a voice based on that text, then give it back to us. So that's the process, right? So again, this process is quite tedious. There are some APIs that out there that I think they provide the most of the suits, so you can easily generate voice, and or you can easily convert a text to a voice and a voice to a text also. But again, since we are just doing something very minimal, we are using like all the libraries available to us to do this. Now, to explain the code in the main file, first of all, we also initializing the speech to text library and also our audio player and also a number of variables here. So first of all, we need to initialize the speech to text and make sure that it is up and running. Now the next thing is we have a function or a method that basically starts listening. So when you call this function, it basically starts listening for any audio that will come in. So any voice that will come in. And also we have this function that stops listening. So the first one is listening, the second one stops listening basically. Now we have the response, so or the result. So basically when it is listening, everything you say, what it does is it takes the first word, and when you mention another word again, it add that the second word to it. So it keeps doing that until it gets the entire sentence, right? So after you get the sentence, you have to know whether it is done or not. And the only way you can know whether it is done is when the stop is pressed. So when you call the stop function, then this final result gets triggered. Then you can perform whatever operation you want to perform, knowing that the full sentence is completed or the full sentence is done. So over here, yeah, and that's what we are doing. So first of all, we are checking to make sure that a text has actually been returned to us. And then if the text is returned, what we are doing here is we are giving it to Gemini to understand and generate a response to it, right? So now after Gemini returns a response, again we check whether Gemini has returned a response or not. And if it does, then we now take that. So the response is a string, which is a text. Now we take that text and we give it to the next function, which is to convert the text to speech, right? So this basically does that for us. So so we wait for it, we wait for the response, we check whether it is null or not. And after we get the response, we then pass it to our audio player to basically play it. And when it is done playing, we basically just hide a bunch of things, right? So now looking at the UI is very simple. We have an app bar over here, then we have the body. And in the body, we are checking if the speech to text is listening, so whether it has been activated or it has been started. And then we have uh, a GIF that is supposed to represent an animation or whatever that will be displayed to show that it is actively listening to the user. Then the next one is there's a button here that when you click on this button, it will start or stop listening. And so in this case, you need to add some accessibility functionality to this sort of component so that when the user uses their voice, the phone can easily identify the components of the app itself, and it is able to trigger the action or trigger the listening and the stop action in the app. Yeah, so basically that is it. Again, it is very simple. And down here we have a custom source. So the custom source is basically we saying that we are passing in byte to the audio player. So the audio player should basically just stream this byte, basically. Now, yeah, so basically this is what our application is doing. I have about 30 minutes for this talk, so I can't actually build everything or explain every single process. So again, the source code is going to be available. It's already on my GitHub. You can check it out. If you have any question, you can reach out to me on X or Twitter, on LinkedIn. Uh, I mean, wherever. Yeah, even on GitHub, right? You can open an issue or whatever. Then we can discuss whatever thing you don't understand on the code base. Now, let's see, yeah, good. So this is how our app looks like. I'm running it on a simulator, so it doesn't work well. It doesn't work so well in a simulator. But I'm just going to try and showcase its usage. I have to run it on my physical device, and if I try to mirror my physical device, the presentation is going to stop. So yeah, I have no choice here. So yeah, so I'm going to click on the play. How many legs does a dog have? Yeah, so there's some sort of should I say delay when I'm running it on a simulator for whatever reason. But when I run it on a device, I'm able to get the exact uh, effects that I want. Uh, there's a very long drag. I don't even know why it's behaving this way. Yeah. So I mean, basically, this is how the app works. So when you click on the button, you see this sort of animation or this sort of effect, just to indicate that it is listening. Again, it's just a display, right? But what the user is interested in the response. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and mirror my phone from my other laptop and see if we can get this actually displaying. So just give it some few minutes. Uh, it's going to take just some few minutes for it to display. But whilst we wait, if you have any question, you can ask. Whilst it runs on my physical device, and again, if for any instance you don't understand the process, you can always reach out to me, and we will basically discuss it. Uh, yeah, and I mean this you can use this implementation beyond just like this application. You can have your own sort of text generation and uh, voice app. So, oh yeah, so I think yeah, the app is running now. Let me, I can mirror this device. Okay, so I'm hoping it is still playing at this point. So I'm going to click on the button and say, how many legs does a dog have?
4.
Okay, so it sounded in my headset. I don't know if, let me see if I can. Yeah, it's mirroring to my device. So yeah, but it was able to respond. So when you run it, you can check it out and see, right? Let's see. Can you tell me a poem?
I can tell you a poem, but I need to know what kind of poem you'd like. For example, would you like a poem about
So I'm currently
asterisk
getting a
love asterisk
response
nature
from
asterisk
it.
life asterisk a specific
I
topic
wish I
asterisk
wish
a
I
certain
could actually
style
stream the
like
audio for you guys to
haiku,
hear.
sonnet, free
So
verse?
yeah,
Please let me know what you have
but
in
but
mind.
just try it out and let me know what you think. So I think this is for the end of my talk. It's very short again. Uh, it's a little technical. So just go through the code. If you understand something, reach out to me and we will check it out. All right. So yeah, that's it. If you have any question, please let me know. And yeah, you can also reach out to me on my social media account. It's I am Etonam almost everywhere. So yeah, when you type I am Etonam, you should probably get me. All right.